What's the best accidental nudity you've seen? Used to walk to my neighbor's place to pick him up for school. I had a car and he didn't yet. We were both juniors in high school. His sister was a senior with late arrival, so she was usually just getting up and ready when we were leaving. I was standing in his kitchen a little earlier than normal because on Fridays we'd hit up McDonald's or the bakery before school. His sister walks out of the shower while drying her hair, completely nude. I couldn't do anything but freeze and stare for a full 2 seconds before she realized I was standing there, and she half screamed, half laughed, and I shouted sorry as she ran to her bedroom. I didn't say anything to anyone about it, but we had a physics class together every other day and she came in that day red-faced and still giggling. She was a real sport about it. Friend was banging his GF in his room, walks out to use the shared toilet, leaves his door wide open. I'm in the hallway and look to see her fully naked, handcuffed to the bed. She said hi. I said hi. The place we always stayed at for our family's beach vacation used to have college kids staying in the building next to it. One summer they must have been doing work in the bathroom because there were no curtains on the shower, which faced our apartment's porch. 3 people were showering together, and I could see a lot. 13-year-old me was pretty happy. Middle school. There was this girl who matured much earlier than the other girls. It was a big pool party and my buddy and I were sitting in the hot tub. It was a raised hot tub attached to the pool. Well, the girl I mentioned earlier climbs from the pool and into the hot tub. Only her bathing suit top didn't make it all the way. She looked down and realized it and dove back over the wall into the pool. My buddy and I just looked at each other and kind of giggled like middle school idiots. I used to work room service in a hotel. It wasn't that uncommon for people to answer the door in very little. One time this woman answered wearing just a robe, which fell open when she went to take the tray from me. Was on a boat trip at summer camp. Attractive young lady was changing in her room and her friend opened the door and young Tendy got a full frontal view of this girl. OFC, I felt bad for her, but we laughed about it and were cool still. When I was 11 or 12 the Navy was giving public tours of some battleship, which was like a big public event. So I'm on deck with my mom, little brothers and a tour group of like 50 people when a yacht floats by with a dozen partiers making a lot of noise. Naturally everyone turns around and 2 of the women on the yacht pull their tops off, which got a great laugh. Then a third woman turns around, bends over and pulls her bikini bottom down. And that's the story of how I saw my first viral vagina from like 200 feet away. Good day. I was 10. My best friend and I were playing in the downstairs cellar and found an unmarked VHS tape. Both curious on what was on it, popped it in the VCR upstairs in his room. It was a full 90-minute sex tape of his parents like hardcore. We sat together that afternoon in complete silence, unsure of what to do or say. Best moment of my teenage life. I was an 18-year-old freshman at a large university and was walking on campus in the first week of school. Still warm enough for girls to wear short skirts around campus. I'm walking down this narrow side street that also serves the shop/bookstore on campus and a girl walks out of a door about 10 feet in front of me. I look up and see that she had accidentally tucked the back of her skirt into the waistband of her almost thong. I immediately look around me to see if someone else notices this attractive girl with her almost bare ass walking in front of me, but no one was around. I caught up to her before she turned the corner of a busy intersection and told her about the wardrobe malfunction. She looked at me, fixed the skirt immediately, and almost ran away. Felt bad because she was embarrassed/worried I was a creep. When I was 16, my first job was pumping gas at a gas station. We had this couple that were regulars and one day they pull in and the guy's wife is in a dress, has her legs up on the dashboard and spread wide for the world to see. No underwear. Clearly intentional. The first time it happened, I passed it off as some bizarre trick my mind had played on me, but then they did it again. About the third time I, in my infinite 16-year-old wisdom, decided to tell them we need more customers like you guys, as they were paying/leaving. Never happened again, and, in fact, the guy came back alone later that day and asked me to apologize to his wife the next time they came in. Thank God that was the last time I ever saw them. Left quite the lasting impression, though. I was on a sleeper train traveling from Bangkok to Surat Thani in order to head to the islands. I was in college and could not sleep on this sweaty, rickety train. I was in the first passenger car behind the staff car. Now, all the train staff are dressed like soldiers. Maybe they are soldiers. I really don't know. I do know that I kept sneaking out of the car door and hanging out by the car hitch to smoke cigarettes. Sometime at about 4 in the morning, I look into the officer car, and through the window I can see a table of guys playing cards. I find it interesting, so I just casually observe. All of a sudden a commotion breaks out. This is getting good, I thought. I can see one card player stand up and grab a towel from off screen and just start yanking at it and laughing hysterically. He finally jars the towel free from wherever it was and falls back into the card table, knocking over everything. Now everyone is standing and cracking up. Quite the uproar. I felt lucky to have seen this. Then, from off screen, where the towel was being pulled, a fine Thai soldier / train officer walks into the window view stark ass naked and dripping wet. Obviously he is going back and forth with the towel thief. He turns around to look out the window and is just kind of standing there for a second with his little dinghy just hanging there. He looks to see if anyone is watching but can't see me since it's dark outside. As he is peering his naked ass into the darkness, I took a long slow drag of my cigarette. The glow of the cherry caught his eye and he looked like he was able to make out the outline of my face. Once he really noticed, he screamed like a little girl, turned tail and fled back in the bathroom, off screen, and the towel thief pointed at me. Everyone laughed and he gave him his towel back. The next day he came through the car announcing stops and whatnot, and I gave him a cat call whistle. Turned red as a beet. The best I ever saw wasn't full nudity, but I was 13, so it may as well have been. I was waiting at the top of a small hill for my friend to get something from his uncle. While I was waiting, I noticed a guy standing next to a window of another house talking to someone inside. I didn't pay much attention until the someone inside came close enough for me to see. It was a woman in her bra and panties. I was quite a ways away, so they didn't notice me, but even if they had, I don't think I could have looked away. Second best, when I was 17 I spent the summer helping my brother-in-law at his landscaping business. His friend worked for him, and his friend's wife would often come along, because we live south of Phoenix, and would drive into the city for work and she didn't really have anything else to do. Anyway, the wife's friend was pretty attractive, and never wore a bra. She would lean down to get something off the floor, or move her arms just right, and I had a clear view of her boobs. Looking back, I think she was doing it on purpose. Was at a party. Passed out on the couch. Friend's girlfriend was sleepwalking, or still drunk, trying to make her way to the bathroom. She's walking into everything, so of course this wakes me up. She's butt naked. She drunkenly walked into living room to check if I was asleep. Turns out lights, and goes to bed. My friend was getting with someone, and went upstairs with her. She was too drunk, so he just put her to bed and came back downstairs. He still had a boner, and tucked it up under his belt as every man does, but unfortunately the tip of his penis got caught in front of his t-shirt. He got given the name Tippy throughout high school. My freshman year roommate. I came home early because a class had been cancelled. She was vacuuming the room completely naked, half drunk, blasting Kesha. She froze when she saw me, then shrugged and went back to what she was doing. Already posted, but this one is a little better. Me and my roommates went out one night drinking. We came stumbling back around 2 AM. I'm on the top floor of our house in a small bathroom, so I pass out. When I hit the bed, I wake up around like 4 AM to pee, when I heard a girl in the upstairs bathroom, and thinking it's my one roommate's room next to mine girlfriend, so I go back to my room to put pants on, since I was in my boxers. Fell asleep and woke up 10 minutes later to pee. Went back to my room, turned on the light, so I can see where I was going, and once the lights were on, this naked chick was asleep on my floor. Being my drunk stupid self, I shrugged it off, and then lay down in bed to coming to a sudden drunken realization that this girl has no idea who I was, and might think something happened. So I took my laundry basket, and start tossing clothes on her to wake her up. She wakes up, thinks I'm the roommate who lives downstairs, and proceeds to take one of my shirts and walk back to her house with no pants on. Weirdest experience of my life. Female coworker regularly changed into post-work running clothes in her office. The door didn't quite latch one day and it slowly swung open while she was changing. I happened to walk by and notice. Her back was to the door, but it was a nice brief view. Just before uni graduation, my roommate at the time and I were talking and waiting for his girlfriend and mother to finish dressing. They were in his room, which had an oddly large door for some reason. Maybe handicapped person in the apartment before. He didn't realize they were still in there and, while talking to me non-stop and not looking, opened the door. They were right beside it, nude on top, and didn't notice at first. They screamed. He freaked out in mid-sentence and slammed the door. Was pretty funny. They had scheduled a vacation together for post-graduation. His mom told me I might as well go with them instead of his dad, as I'd seen the goods more recently than the dad. Lol. I was the one having the accident. I was on a band trip and was rooming with my good friend Ree, who happens to be B. We are both girls. I went back to the room to shower while Ree was hanging out with some other people. I realized when I was done that I left my towel out of the bathroom, so I went into the main room, but naked, to get it. Of course, that's when the door suddenly busts open and Ree and our other roomie go to walk in. I scream and run back to the bathroom with the towel sort of on me, laughs who had, etc. Not that big of a deal. Later that night, Ree quietly goes, "I saw your t***." It was hot. Even though I'm very much straight, I was flattered. This question was meant for me. Was working on a project in college with a group of 3 other people. We shared our files on Google Docs. I was sitting next to the girl in my group and asked her to open our project file on Google Docs. She opens her Google Docs and all of her nude pictures were there. There were at least 10. She was so embarrassed.